Hey, welcome back to episode number 12 of Low Power Mode with Breezy. Let's get it started. Yeah.
I got an excess of black bile, high irascibility, contemplating checking myself into facility, mental ability clearly affected, deep in the dumps, down and dejected.
I've been in low power mode, in low power mode, been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear. I've been in low. I've been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear.
All right. Come on now, Lizzo. Baby, how you feeling? Feeling good, Sam? Music. This song is good as hell. So, well, no, that's a different song from Lizzo. This one is called About Damn Time. And Lizzo just dropped this today, a few hours ago. So I absolutely adore Lizzo. If you don't know Lizzo, picture the most upbeat, positive, like size queen you've ever met, who can play the flute, rap, sing incredibly in multiple different types of genres. I mean, Lizzo's such an anomaly, and her album, what's it called? Oh, I totally bought it and have it on my computer, but I'm blanking. But her last album was 3 years ago. We all love it. We all hear it in commercials now. And so I think we're all just ready for whatever she has to give us. And it is this single, About Damn Time, with this music video. We've been seeing a trend with millennials and social media, like actually really negatively affecting their health. And I remember a few months back, Lizzo like really being at a breaking point where she was like, kind of losing it on Instagram Live because of comments or things people had said to her. And I don't blame her. Only Lizzo knows how it feels to be Lizzo. And I imagine someone, especially like a big Black woman who is so incredibly talented and probably is used to being underestimated, having that kind of energy all the time, like you can't, it's unsustainable. So yeah, I wish the best for folks like Cardi B, who went to court because of YouTube videos about her, and Lizzo, who really showed how she felt. I don't know. I appreciate these pop stars, right? Being so vulnerable and honest with how words mean things. So it's so tough though. Like, yeah, it's just so tough to shut out all the bad. And is it even possible, So anyway, genre-wise, this song is very disco. It's very funky. It's very fun, four to the floor. Think the Lizzo version of like 24 Karat Magic, And I think Lizzo with this song does like the healthier version of what Silk Sonic is doing. They're both reckoning back to a specific genre and time in music, but I think Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak kind of perpetuate misogyny, whereas Lizzo it represents and symbolizes the exact opposite. She symbolizes the strength and the courage and the badassery of big Black women. And so she's just incredible. Okay, so it starts out where and I love like concise music videos that make sense to me, not just like random location after random location. And so it all seems to take place in some sort of like YMCA or health club or something like this. But we start off where we're in this support group. It's dressed and sexy support group. Okay. So we're in this dressed and sexy support group. Looks like Lizzo just worked out and made it to the group, and the group is just starting. And so the leader of the group asks Lizzo to contribute a poem comparing something that makes you feel stressed and something that makes you feel sexy. And she just gets up. She just gets up and walks on out the room. And then as soon as she kind of like the doors close behind her, that's when the song starts. Ooh. And Lizzo's in sweats. She's literally in like gray sweats, and her hair is, probably her natural hair back in a pony, and she has like super minimal makeup on her face. So like I love also a stripped down look. And so, yeah, the song starts, and she is kind of like working her way through the building, and they do really great things production wise with the floor, making it a disco lit up, colorful floor. And there's this moment that she has with the janitor. So it's like nighttime, and the janitor is mopping the floor, and then she kind of comes up and like interacts and dances with the janitor, and she takes the janitor's mop, and then like Black girl magics her way back like a cool ass Missy Elliott witch or something. And it's like it's almost like aggressive joy, and I love it so much because Lizzo could go to anger, but she goes to humor and fun, and I just love it for her. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh God, can't read my own handwriting. There's also this kind of strange but fun moment where some white guy is like painting in a like Benjamin Moore painting in a bathroom. And then, Lizzo's got the music going, and there's like colorful lights blinking and stuff. And then the like outer skin layer is removed to reveal like this fly girl. And just like a little bit random but super fun and awesome. And then at the end they kind of have this like full on dance moment. And she has, when her transition from sweats to sequins is where she like kind of comes up against this big mirror. And so on the one side she's wearing sweats, and on the other, it's like mirror her, and she's talking back to herself, like call and response in the song. And then she turns herself into a blue sequin, glammed up version of her. So I love that there's this trend with like the mirror and reflection in Black women art and creativity. I've seen it with, Issa Rae Insecure, Star Keisha, Lizzo, I feel like there's just such this strong reflective theme right now. And like like the reflection symbolizing the inner self and having those conversations with your inner self. And I know it's not new, but I love to see it. I love to see it. It all feels like very of the moment right now. And at the end, I wanted a Lizzo TV show, like, because the way it starts and the way it ends, it's kind of dramatic and like it's as if it's a TV show. And I was like, oh, I want the full episode. I I want I want more of Lizzo. I know she's a legend musically, but like, is she interested in the silver screen? Like, are we gonna see? I'm sure we will. I totally want her to go like full Queen Latifah. So yeah, we'll see. Best of luck to Lizzo. Hope you're eating up the excitement and feeling of dropping new work that is going to resonate with a shit ton of people, and a great new song that we're going to see in commercials and movies and things because it's so damn good. And yeah, just always hats off, bowing down to Lizzo. She's yeah, just the fact that she exists in our canon of music today is I don't know, incredible. So thank you, Lizzo, and let's move on to TV. Television. All right, so we're back. Oh, wanted to clear it up. That album is 'Cause I Love You. That's Lizzo's, I think, first and most recent album. Yeah, and I think her next one comes 15th of July. Something like that. All right, so now we're on TV, and I want to talk about the show Woke. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? If you haven't, even the story itself, like, is enough to just hear about and be like, wow, great premise for a TV show. Timely, makes sense, funny. So, Woke is about a cartoonist who lives in San Francisco, and he's black. And he has some momentum going with his career, and he has a largely white audience. And then he gets assaulted by the police, and he ends up being let go. He turns out he was not who the police were looking for. And since that that moment is the catalyst for him to like become woke, a euphemism for becoming more in touch with and aware of his blackness and his connection to the struggle. And so, I love a TV show that examines race. I love a comedy that examines, or would this be dramedy? Maybe it's just comedy. I don't know. Drama. I'm gonna call it drama comedy. So this is a drama comedy that is so fun and spirited, because it's based off a real guy. The real guy's name is Keith Knight, and the character's name is Keith Knight. And that's KK, like, let me not say too many Ks. That's KK, like Keith Knight. So I love a good actual, true story. And so I think this is super based off of real ass events about this black comic strip drawer artist in San Francisco. And he actually had an altercation with the police, and then it really woke him up. And I want to say moving, because I was really I was that stereotypical mulatto kid who was like super, just unaware of their blackness and like what just have grown up around all white people. So it was not until moving out to South LA, out to, what was it, 52nd and Figueroa, when I realized what like systemic oppression was. Like, I was 19 or had already done 2 years of college, and moved to the hood in LA. And I was like, oh, seeing what that community that I moved into was facing versus the many communities I'd been a part of before that. Not saying that I'd been like necessarily with super rich communities or anything, but excuse me, when you go to the hood in like South Central LA, it's just a different world. And so that really was like an event that kind of shook me. And I was also working at a nonprofit that was focusing on like education in the poorest like regions in the city of LA. So, or in the county. So it was I just like had like a whole ass 1 year, volunteer AmeriCorps like education on race and on systemic oppression, like all of that stuff. And maybe they didn't use the language that we use today. Maybe it was like a little bit more pre everything that we use today, but it really set the groundwork for the way that I view the world today. So yeah, this was super relatable for me. And the characters, the side character supporting roles in this story were so great too. It's like a roommate situation, but an older roommate situation. So I assume everyone's like in their mid-30s or something. And one of my favorite Black comedian femmes is Sashir Zamata, and she plays the character Ayana in this series. And let's see, it's Blake Anderson from Workaholics who plays Gunther, the friend, a friend and roommate. T. Murph, I think a Chicago comedian who plays Clovis, another friend and roommate. And Lamorne Morris, who plays Keith Knight, who, if you remember, is Winston from New Girl, which is so funny too, like such a good casting choice because New Girl was very, New Girl wasn't trying to say anything about race. And so Lamorne Morris playing this character in New Girl really lines up with the transition that he makes in his perspective on race in the series Woke. So already like so much for me to sink my teeth into. Another super fun feature of this show is that there are animated characters okay, so again, we've seen this before. We've seen animation or things drawn in on top of, like layered on top of just film from a camera. But the fact that Keith Knight, I'll say Keith, like the name of the character in the show. So the fact that Keith Knight is a cartoonist, it makes sense. Like that choice makes so much sense, and they don't overdo it. They essentially draw in these characters. So Keith's whole cartoon is toast and butter, and so he does this toast and butter strip, and people love it or whatever. And so those are cartoon. Those appear as like cartoon people in the series, played by, let's see, who is it? Sam Richardson plays Toast. I forget what he's famous from, but I know of something he's been in. And Butter is played by Tony Hale, who played Buster in Arrested Development and a shit ton of other roles. So you already got we're already so tapped into the comedian world. And then there's other people along the way. One of them is Marker. So the Marker is animated and voiced by J.B. Smoove. And there's a 40 ounce, like a 40, like a malt liquor 40, voiced by Nicole Byer. There's the trash can voiced by Cedric the Entertainer. So all in all, especially in the first episode of the first season, There's a lot of voiceover stuff, and it's so well done. It's so funny. And in this series, I mean, it's really more of a comedy than a drama comedy because it's so funny. And even though it's dealing with serious content, the jokes are hilarious, and they're not like offensive, like, well, especially lately, we've been having this conversation about what's okay for comedians to joke about. And I feel like in woke, I mean, obviously it should be, it's called woke, but like all the jokes are so funny and witty and clever and smart. And I love that. I love that style of comedy. Like, give me something smart. I don't need like rude or crude or super physical or like slapstick, Give me something that I can relate to. And this was really laugh out loud funny. It was I mean, like whether it was situational or like an actual joke, but just hilarious. So it also kind of follows this it's kind of like it's not a comedy where each episode is kind of formulaic. It's like all the shit goes down in the first episode. Then the second episode, there's a change. Then the third episode, there's a change. And it's like going through these different phases and things. And it's really cool to see the character question things along the way. Like you think you have a sense of what you want to do to help people. But then where does that become aligning with the wrong type of forces who are trying to take advantage or exploit people? It can happen so quickly. And yeah, plot wise, it's so funny. He essentially, I mean, this is, super spoilers, but it's essentially like Keith's opportunities dwindle. Like he has an opportunity to talk at this event called Golden Con, and it's like a comic convention. And so he's going to do this talk about toast and butter, and he's on his way to syndication. Like, he's already made it. All he needs to do is give the talk. But he totally ends up having he just, they call it like the world's worst TED Talk. He basically just spirals. He completely spirals out. He kind of blames the audience for racism. Well, the toast is kind of in blackface, and so there's that going on. And he is then confronted by the cartoon characters who they like, there's a great little clip of a scene where he's interacting with the cartoon characters, but you just see him. I mean, it's again, like, we've seen it before, but it's just so funny to see him like passionately either fighting or talking or whatever with these characters who aren't really there. It's just, that is funny in and of itself, on top of all the other funny. Woke. So good. Something I really liked was, so Keith's got his thing going on, and then his two roommates, Clovis and Gunther. So Clovis is like Clovis kind of puts on a front as if he's a fuckboy, but he's really kind of like a sweet and sensitive guy. He likes to buy and sell shoes. Pardon me. And he likes to have one night stands. And so when he first runs into this character, Ayana, who runs an independent newspaper out of San Francisco, it's called the Bay Area, and she's Black. It's like a grassroots POC kind of, woke, quote unquote, perspective. So she approaches Keith in the comic store to do a comic strip for her newspaper, and then they become friends. And so when Clovis, the roommate, meets Ayana Ayana is like this independent business owning Black woman lesbian. So, and Clovis is trying to get at her. So for the first few encounters that they have, it's very awkward. She's very like, back off, dude. Like, like, I'm not attracted to you at all. And he's very like, just trying to, she's like, oh, she's playing hard to get, this kind of thing. Excuse me. And so, and then slowly they start to become friends because she kind of it turns like, okay, there's an event that happens and they're both at the event, and it's clear that Ayana's ex has shown up with somebody else. And she's kind of tripping on it, but she says that she's not exactly blameless later on. And Clovis is like, "Oh shit, you a fuck boy though," and it's great. I love this. I love to see like the Black woman lesbian in the role of fuck boy. Which, if you don't know what that is, it's like that cis hetero male who is going through all the motions just to like trying to have sex. So, yeah, it was very funny. I love that role reversal. It was very, I don't know. And then this friendship develops between those two, and it's like I love when you see genuine friendships develop between people who have very different values than you would think that they can never be friends, but it just works. And then the other roommate is Gunther. So he's from Workaholics, the one with the like big bushy hair. And he's like this nerdy white dude, where like kind of like Birkenstock and thermal wearing dude, and very sweet and sensitive and like cares about the environment, and not quite sure what his job is, like he kind of starts off where like the landlord has asked him to be in charge of collecting rent for the building, and so he's like trustworthy, but it's actually Gunther who comes to Keith's rescue when he's pinned down by the police. Gunther is there and runs runs up, and Keith is like, no, don't put yourself in danger, but Gunther like doesn't have that awareness, and it's just like, whatever, they're not going to shoot me. And then he kind of like back at the house when the three roommates are talking about it, Gunther kind of like takes too much credit and is like, yeah, I was da-da-da with the police, da-da-da. This isn't about you, man. Like, this is, so, but he's definitely trying. He portrays that white character who's trying to be sensitive of living with two Black roommates. And so, yeah, it's so well done, so well written. The characters are well developed. I burned right through it because season 2 just came out. So I burned right through season 1 and season 2. And yeah, if you want funny, if you want fresh, I mean, I remember this being promoted a little bit when it first came out, but I think I was just like in hustle mode, so it wasn't like trying to, I don't know. But I love that that this is now in my pocket of these kind of comedies that are very current and representative of us, of me, of you, like of our times, of our culture. Yeah, and there's this whole tech company thing. There's this whole thing with like the homeless or the unhoused population, and the political correctness and the real help versus the fronting, and it's just really good. I love it. The commentary, the jokes. Again, I didn't write down any specifically because I was just so engaged. I was like, let me just watch this and enjoy. But I highly recommend. So that's Woke, the story of Keith Knight. But in the show, it's Keith Knight, played by Lamorne Morris. All right, so that's going to wrap up our TV section. We're going to move right on to film. Movies. Film. All right, so welcome back to the film section. Today, I'm going to be talking about the film Made in America. Not Made in America, The Bloods and the Crips from back in 2008 or 2009, the Stacey Peralta documentary, but Made in America, the Hollywood film, Warner Brothers film, from 1993, starring Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson. So you know when you just happen upon something random, pops up in your queue and you're like, yeah, let me try this. And then you kind of like watch it and then you're like low-key invested and then you uncover like a big kind of scandal that you're like, holy shit, how come I've never heard about this before? And you're like, wow, that's wild. And like that happened. That was my experience with this film. All right, so let me break it down. So both the TV and the film this week, I love a theme. So they're SF Bay Area, not really on purpose though. I just happen to be. So the majority of Made in America takes place in Oakland. And okay, so Ted Danson, fresh off of Cheers, right? Like Cheers ended in 93, and this was the first film he made after Cheers. And Whoopi Goldberg in her heyday star in this film. And it is about so Whoopi. Let me break down the characters first. So the character of Sarah is played by Whoopi Goldberg. The character of Hal Jackson is played by Ted Danson. The Zora, who is Sarah's daughter, is played by Nia Long. Zora's friend Tea Cake, that's right, Tea Cake, is played by Will Smith, none other than the Will Smith. And who else? That's like the main cast actually. So here's the story. So this is wild. So we've got Sarah and Zora. And Zora and her friend Tea Cake are in science class one day, and they do something with like a blood test, like where you, I guess, like you do your own blood tests and see what type of blood you have. So based off of the results of the blood test, Zora figures out that her father, who she was told is her father, actually is not her father. So what happens is she ends up going to the sperm bank place. And sorry, my neighbors are walking by. What up? Okay, so she goes to the sperm bank place, finds who her father is, whatever, goes on these old ass computers, early 90s gray boxes. So she goes to the address and it's a car dealership, and it turns out that this white guy at the car dealership, this guy who's kind of like the face on the commercials and kind of like an asshole, like sales guy, car salesman, is her biological father, because her mother had told her that her father had, that she was a test tube, like, it was a test tube and da-da-da-da. And there was also a naivete about Sarah, like kind of going and being like, this is what I want. And then like trusting the system to give it to her. So yeah. So then we kind of go down this whole road of like, okay, well, this is ridiculous. So Sarah goes into Hal Jackson's office where Zora had tried to confront him about it and he wasn't really having it. And then there's like, there's some contentious energy and stuff. But some events happen, essentially because Zora was hanging out was at the car dealership. She scores a date with some other car salesman guy. And so as he's dropping, as she's about to go out on a date with the other car salesman, Hal Jackson has a change of heart and comes by, offering some peace and love. And this is where this is where the romance starts. And it's funny, this is like definitely a comedy, definitely like 90s comedy. It's so funny to me that the sound is not that good. Like whoever worked on the sound, they recorded it at too high a level, so it's like very, I don't know, it's very funny when you watch it. It's like, oh my God, like this is a Warner Brothers production. Like you guys should have checked the levels or whatever. But all right, so the way that their love manifests, it feels kind of organic the way it happens. And this is like, the tall, handsome white guy and the like dark-skinned, dreadlocked Oakland African, she owns a shop called a bookstore called African Queen. This is not easy to manufacture. Like how are they gonna make this happen? But they did a really great job. They really had me buying into Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg, and I was like, damn, why are they so cute? Like, why is this working? And so there's this whole thing where she, Sarah gets into an accident. She's out in a coma or something. They're taking blood from the friends and family, which is like, yeah, I guess the thing that they did. And he has his blood taken, and then he finds out he's this other blood type. So the information that Zora got was wrong, and that he's actually not the father. I mean, Nia Long doesn't really look like she is a white parent. But okay, we could have, like we were going with it. Oh, sorry, I hit the mic. I was with it. I was ready to go where it was going to take me. And this is a film I definitely watched with a skeptical eye, but made it through the whole thing being like, damn, this really pulled through. So finds out he's not the father, and then it's like, yeah, and it's like messy. Zora doesn't want them together, blah, blah, blah. And then they kind of end up together, and it's like, oh, hey, dad, he like comes to her graduation. It's so funny because she goes to like an all black high school. And so it's also great. She's, she wins a Westinghouse scholarship, like full tuition paid in the sciences. And it's like, representation wise, I love to see the black girl in the math and sciences kicking ass and getting scholarships to MIT and stuff. Like that was great. And so where are we? Okay, so yeah, so it's the high school graduation, and at the end they do this whole like thing with like these artists. Back in 90s TV, there was always some sort of R&B or rap act embedded in the whole production. And so they had this thing, they had the chorus, the choir and everything. They had this whole like churchy moment, and Ted Danson's just like there. It was so wild. It was so funny. Like the outtakes are like, when the credits start to roll, but they still play it. And it's just like Ted Danson and Whoopi and Will Smith and Nia Long, like just having fun with these. It's just ridiculous. Like I cannot believe this film happened and got made. And so the film ends. I'm like, okay, that was such a ride. They kind of got me with the whole dad thing. And then this whole yeah, okay, like we're gonna do the interracial relationship thing, yada yada. So come to find out, Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg dated for real. And this film is where they met, worked together, and fell in love. And Ted Danson ended his marriage, or his wife ended his marriage after like 16, 17 years. They had a kid together, but he fell in love with Whoopi Goldberg, which is like, escándalo. So that's wild. That's wild. I don't know, but like this is good, pretty crazy. And then on top of that, they dated for like a year and a half or something, and they were fairly public about it. Probably like already doing, promo for Made in America, the film. So, they were spending a lot of time together or whatever. And until a year and a half later, they're doing a roast. They're doing a roast in New York at the Friars Club for Whoopi Goldberg. So this is like 95, 93, or maybe it's not a year. No, they probably dated during 92 when they were filming. Okay, so because this happened in 93. So the roast is in 93. So they're fully dating. I know I'm repeating the same thing again and again, but it's just, I want to be super clear with the facts. So it's a roast for Whoopi Goldberg. It's at the Friars Club. Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg are dating. Ted Danson shows up in blackface. Not just like a little bit of blackface or like the whole face blackface, like the big, wide, round lips too, like as blackface as he could possibly go. And he delivers a roast that he's just saying the N-word, like left and right. He's just in 1993 shows up in blackface and is saying jokes with the N-word. I think he said it like 12, 15 times. I don't know how long each roaster is up there, but it's not very long. So like, what? And like Halle Berry was there. RuPaul was there. Like some very like, hot, famous people from black people from the 90s were in attendance. The mayor was there, and the mayor walked out. The black mayor, I think his name's Dinkler at the time. Just wild shit. I think Montel Jordan walked out. Just wild. And apparently Whoopi Goldberg defended him. Not only did she defend Ted Danson, because I could see some blindedness, but she said she wrote the jokes. She said she helped him come up with the whole thing. He said during the roast, she dared me to do this. So what the fuck? I mean, and I looked at like probably like 10 articles. Like I did a fair amount of research, and each article said the same thing. He came in, he did the roast, and then she immediately defended him after, like right after, in the press afterwards. Since then, now she also has said that she never, she was like, he was the only ex she was never cool with after, like he didn't want to talk to her, which, all right, so that led me to look up like if Ted Danson had done other racist shit in the past. Couldn't find a damn thing. So you tell me, what happened here? What happened here? Was an early 90s Whoopi Goldberg so disillusioned by fame and wealth and Hollywood that she thought that an interracial relationship, that she thought that this would be appropriate for anyone in any type of relationship. Like, this is wild to me. And I wanna, it's Ted Danson who got up on stage and was in blackface. It's Ted Danson who was a white man saying the N-word. But Whoopi, you put him up to it? What? I know Whoopi isn't our most woke person in the Black community. I get that. She was around for, like, talk about trailblazer within Black women achievements. And aligning with the LGBTQ community. I thought she was gay. Apparently she's not. But yeah, just being so cool with, like, the community and weed and all this stuff. It's like, I don't know. It just blows my mind because both of them were complicit, right? Like, Whoopi was like, what if you did this? And Ted was like, yeah, okay. Is that how it went down? I just don't know. And, it would be one of those things where it's like, would have resurfaced on Twitter in 2009 and been like, look at how racist Ted Danson was and da-da-da-da-da. But it seems, I don't know. I feel like we need a detective on this case. Like, what the hell? I just do not know. Yeah. So juicy. I love anything regarding an interracial relationship, race relations in the States. Fame and wealth and, like, all that stuff, like, taking you too far, kind of like Tammy Faye, getting caught up in this, oh, but whatever. And instead of, like, having the feet on the ground. Yeah, what happened here? And damn, Ted and Whoopi were serious. Like, they were, like that, like, being in love where it's just like that, like, very innocent connection, spiritual, like, crush kind of. Their chemistry on screen was remarkable. Because he plays, first of all, he has a Southern accent, and we know Ted Danson does not normally have a Southern accent. So I was like, okay, that's tacky, and I have to try to work with this. But then on top of that, yeah, Whoopi's, like, not only, but she's super Black. No, Keith Knight. She works at the African Queen store in Oakland. Like, she is, and so having these bookends of the system, so funny. And the conversation between Zora and Sarah when Zora tells her mom that her dad is white is so funny. And such good commentary on race in the States. So, wow. Wild. Had you heard of this story? I don't know. Maybe it's something I missed. But, yeah, so you can take that fun tidbit with you. And we're going to move on to the outro. Hey, listen, sometimes you gotta check in with yourself. All right, so to end us out today on the 12th episode, which is kind of cool because it's like a quarter of the year. It means I've been doing this for 3 months, and it's just flown by, and I've had so much fun with it. So thank you as always, for your support. And yeah, I'm gonna keep going for the foreseeable future. Like, I love it so much. I also realized, like, when I listen to myself, how much better I can be at speaking. So always good to have that skill in your back pocket when you're trying to make it in show business or entertainment and the entertainment industry. So this is really good practice for me. I wanted to talk about my music video, About Me. Since we've had kind of a theme of like interracial relationships or the relationship between blackness and whiteness in the States, which is always contentious, forever and always. It's really wild. Okay, so this song, like, yeah, I was really struggling physically, mentally, emotionally, living with my parents, living in Massachusetts on the campus of a a fancy, prep college preparatory school. You can't emphasize the word prep enough. And that's when I made the song About Me. And then for the music video, I got 2 years in a row, I wrote a grant to try to make a music video. And the second year I got it, and I was like, all right, let's do this. And everything went like really well, and like probably like 3/4 of the way into the project, and then things started to deteriorate. So yeah, that's tough for me because I feel like I want to be a good leader in my creative projects, and I want to be supportive, and I want to have good communication. But also when you're not taking care of yourself, and when you're not well, it's hard to uphold all those things. And so I'm not, I don't want to appear blameless. But I also want to give myself the compassion. So I'm super proud of this music video, even though I got in a disagreement with the director about Foley. Essentially, I wanted to do sound effects, and he thought that we needed to hire a professional to do sound effects. And I was like, I am a professional, and it's my video. But I appreciated his directorial vision, and he had written the script. You know, he had done some of that like very important and foundational work on the film, and so I conceded to his vision, and I feel like fine about it now. But it's tough. I'm not, we didn't end well, and like half the people I was friends with and worked with on that film, on that music video, is so important to me, especially like the message and symbolism and everything behind it. I'm, not have had to let go of for my health. And so it's wild. But last week, was it? Or 2 weeks ago, I won an award. I won an International Music Video Award for Best Hip Hop Music Video. And it's awesome because even though many of these awards are just like submission fees on Film Freeway, and then, for them to, not choose you for an award or something, it's tough, but I wanted to go for it. And I didn't get the Berlin Music Video Awards, which I thought it had a chance at, but I did get this award. And even though I paid for it, I'm proud that someone saw it and watched it and thought it was good. And I'm proud that it lives on YouTube as part of my visual discography. And so it feels, or filmography. So it feels really good. And I'm terrible at giving myself credit. I have a super critical inner voice. So I wanted to do an out loud positive affirmation and give myself credit for navigating this tricky situation and coming out of it with a piece of art that is really meaningful. So yeah. It's why is it so hard to be compassionate towards ourselves? Is that an AFAB thing? Like, because I really feel like being socialized as a girl or a woman, you're there to serve. I say this all the time, I know, but it really affects the way that we see the world and what we feel we're capable of and all this stuff. And I definitely have those doubts sometimes, like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But then I'm like, of course I can do this. And how many people, not just whatever category of person, but people have come before me and been like, I don't know how to do this, and then figured it out. So I always try to be super feminist and equanimous with my ability to do things, but my ability to give myself credit for things needs work. So that's what I'm working on. This episode is a little bit shorter this week. I am going to LA this weekend to see my good friend and brother in rap, Groovy, perform. So this is a big highlight for me. Can't wait. And so wanted to get this one off before my trip this weekend. So sending you good vibes. Hope everything is going well in your lives. I hope you are healthy because Corona is still raging. And wishing you, peace, love, and happiness. But also, if you're struggling, then I really feel you as well. Just struggling with your existence and, shit like that. I get you. Okay, so I'm going to end it here. Breezy out.
I've been in low power mode. In low power mode. Been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear. I've been in low. I've been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear.